Hey gang, my son John and I are up here scouting. It's about the third trip that Nordbergs have made up here getting ready for this year's firearm hunting season here in Minnesota. This is a peculiar spot right here. It's a good example of why some bucks are almost impossible to hunt. You know, we're pretty darn good buck hunters, but over the years we've learned that there are two kinds of bucks you just can't get. There's no way, you can't get them. One is a buck that immediately becomes nocturnal when he realizes hunting is going on. And the other one is a buck that keeps track of the hunters. A buck that wants to know where the hunters are every day before they go about their normal activities. Now, right here, I'm standing on the side of a hill, and right behind me, you see all the grass and ferns back there at the top of this hill. Well, for 28 years, we've been finding signs of big bucks here and big beds made by big bucks at the top of this hill right here. And you know what those bucks, why they bed there? So they can keep track of us in our camp. Our camp is just down the hill down here, just a few blocks away. And they can lay up there, they can tell where the hunters are going past this, going north from here, or going south or west, whatever direction we go. But they lay in that deep grass, you can't see them when you walk by here. And every year, we did it again. John says, I'm gonna go up there and check that just a little bit. And sure enough, there's real fresh signs of a buck. This one is a decent one. I'd say he's three and a half, 4.5-year-old buck. Clump droppings. Most of those droppings are pressed together, but most of them are close to an inch in length. And that's a pretty good sized buck. And like his forefathers during the last 28 years, he's keeping track of us. We're camped just a little bit from here for the last 2 days, and sure enough, there's a buck keeping an eye on us. I've known quite a few of them, and they've been so clever at it. Finally throwing in the towel, walking away, said, how the heck can you get a buck that's like this? Some of them are so smart. Well, yesterday we found 5 huntable bucks. 3 of them, they're huntable late in the season. They're 2.5-year-olds. They have droppings about 5/8 inches in length, and this time of the year, it's mid-October, most buck droppings are clumped. But anyway, we found 3 2.5-year-olds, and we think, well, we can come and hunt these. They're already in areas where they've been chased by big dominant bucks, and they'll be there during the hunting season. So we have at least 3 areas where we can fill out our annual a quota of 4 adult bucks in our hunting gang. When we get 4, we usually quit. That's it. But we usually pass up 2.5-year-olds during the first, about half of our season where when we hunt here. So, but we now know where there's 3 of them. Now we know where there are 3 bigger bucks, big, mature adult bucks. One is a monster. He's a dominant breeding buck for sure. His droppings that we found yesterday were 1.25 inches long. That's a big buck. You get a buck like that, he's going on the wall. One of them was probably about a 3.5-year-old, not a bad buck. 3.5-year-old bucks have antlers with the lengths and widths of their beams and their points about equal to what they'll be throughout the rest of their lives. But they're thinner. They don't have as much bulk as the older bucks. But that's a decent buck. And so now we have 2 about that size, 3.5, 4.5-year-old bucks, and we've got one, he's in his prime for sure. He's 5.5, maybe 6.5 years of age. So that's not bad for 2 days of scouting so far. Well, we got another long day of scouting ahead of us, but it's looking up. Last year, for the opener, we had hip-deep snow. It was the toughest hunting we've ever had in our lives, hunting up here. We're only a few miles, 3 miles from the Canadian border where we stand here. And did we ever have deep snow? Never had it so bad. But we still managed to get a buck. But it was tough. But this year, if we have a normal weather season, which would sure be nice, it'd be nice to have 3-4 inches of snow. It looks like we're going to have a good year. My son Dave has found several large bucks too, northwest of here a ways. He and his wife have been up here a couple of times getting stands ready or picking stand sites, and they're all excited. They can't wait for the season to start. So anyway, it looks like this is going to be a good one. I'm really looking forward to it. But I don't know if we'll get this buck, but I'm thinking I might take a grandson one morning and drop him off over here in the timber on the back side of this grassy opening on the top of the hill one morning. And who knows, maybe that big buck will make a mistake and he'll get him. But I think we'll give him a try. You know, when we find signs like that, buck signs like that, so close to camp, we don't pay a lot of attention to them because we figure a buck like that is not going to hang around our camp during the hunting season. But this is a little different. This is one of those bucks that's really smart, really difficult to hunt. Maybe we can trip them up for once. So we'll give it a try. So now we're off to a long, hard day. We got a 2-mile section of cruise trail to clean up. We had to, because of the heavy snow here last winter, we had a lot of trees go down, and so we figure we're going to have to do a lot of work to get our trail opened up along 1-mile section of that cruise trail. Yesterday, we created a shortcut on one of our cruise trails that we've had for years. We call it the Slippery Rock Trail. It's not a circular trail, or oblong. It's a one-way trail, dead-end trail, but it's a long one. From our camp, it's at least a 3-mile hike to the end of it, and we're not done with it. We expect in future years we're going to be there again. Well, last winter, looking at aerial photographs of our hunting area up here, I kept looking at a spot where I thought, you know, if we were to cut straight northeast from this portion of this cruise trail, we can end up in this valley that I've been thinking about. I've got a lot of reasons to believe there would be bucks there this winter. It's actually a temporary range of lesser bucks, but there's a big one out there too, you know, a really big buck. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice for this old guy, I'm 83 now, wouldn't it be nice if we could cut off about 3/4 to a mile of that cruise trail to get to that valley? And I looked in the map and I measured it carefully. I said, well, it'd be about 200, 225 yards, this little shortcut. And yesterday we found it. And along the way we found all kinds of really, really fresh buck sign, you know, really shiny, just made droppings out there. And so it's kind of exciting. I think we're going to have a good hunting season this year. 4 big bucks before you know it. I hope so anyway. Well, good luck to you guys too. If you might not see this before the hunting season begins, but if you do, I wish you the best of luck this fall. You know, we all can't get great big bucks, and this country doesn't produce really great big bucks, not like other areas. The area I hunted many years more south in our state of Minnesota, the bucks there had bigger antlers and nice balance. You could get a 10-pointer with only ½ inch of minus points on it. Nice racks, but it got overtaken by a lot of hunters and made hunting so miserable. You know, I get letters from guys telling me, well, gee, I can't do the kinds of things you do because where I am, there's so many hunters. One guy even said when he was taking aim at a big buck, it turned out there were 2 others taking aim at it at the same time, and they all shot, and they got that must have been a puzzle trying to figure out who gets the buck. Well, when people say that, well, we can't do what you do, I can't help but think, well, why the devil do you hunt there? That's terrible. There's got to be places within driving distance where you live where you can have decent hunting and not a lot of hunters to bother you. Especially if you've got large roadless areas anywhere where you can get at least a ½ mile from the road. Once you're a ½ mile away, you're pretty much all alone. And your deer can be doing things they normally do without a lot of interference from other hunters. And you can have wonderful hunting. You're doing all kinds of things. Your deer will be predictable, and if you're a stand hunter, they'll stay with you the whole season. So, for heaven's sake, don't put up with that. Don't be Because even if you have to drive an extra 100 miles, it'd be really worth it. Find a place where you can hunt, where there aren't a lot of hunters, and you'll enjoy your hunting much better. So anyway, good luck, guys. Now I've got to get back to scouting.